You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time.
I'll just cut that out at the beginning and go from whenever. Do you know what? I'm not going to cut that out because I should start. I'm sitting here like it's Patreon, extra point, waiting for you to start. You're sitting there waiting for me to start. Charlie, it's been a very long 24 hours. And if you're in the Dolphins community, it's been a very long, 72 hours? The viral interview on DraftKings Network with Tua Tagovailoa naturally and obviously saw a response from former Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores, and now every single person has piled on, be it former players, current players with different teams. Every single talking head that works in the NFL had something to say, which means that we have something to say, and that we being myself and Charlie Touche. And that rhymes. I am now the wrapper of the podcast. Charlie, how are you?
Bruh, I don't know what you got going on today. It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. I got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast, and official affiliates of Fanatics, where you could be a fanatic of your favorite franchise. Already. Kadeem, I was thinking about some things at work. I'm like, man, it's hold on, before we do this. Fantasy football, Go Time Dolphins Fantasy Football League is active. It's in motion right now. We have two leagues, a beginners league and a veterans league. So if you feel like, you know what, man, I don't really want to jump into a league and I might mess some things up, and I still, I don't really know what I'm doing in fantasy football, we got a league for you. And if you feel like, I'm coming for the rings and I'm coming for heads, you could think we got a league for you, but that's not what we're doing here. You got to see me. You feel me? So, yeah, man. Hey, hit us up at GoTimeDolphins at gmail.com. And in the subject, put fantasy football. And then let us know which league you want to join, and we will try to make that happen. We will try everything within our power to make that happen for sure. Kadeem, man. So this is not like the best start of a podcast that we've had, but I really want to do it like this. This is a Miami Dolphins podcast. I'm pretty sure if you've seen it on YouTube, you've seen the thumbnail, had Brian Flores and Tua Tagovailoa on it. And it's a hot button topic. Let me ask you this before I go into what I'm going to say. How do you feel about, I don't know if you've seen the entirety of the interview, but how do you feel about what's going on right now around this topic?
So like genuinely, myself and Charlie haven't really spoken about this, and I think there's going to be some surprises in terms of what side we fall on, and I think there will be some disagreements. I say that because to me, there's a lot of revisionist history on both sides, but not from like Tua and Brian Flores per se, but from like Dolphin fans and analysts and stuff like that, trying to make it seem like, to put it bluntly for me, to make it seem like Brian Flores was a bad coach, if that makes sense. He wasn't the best head coach, but I think overall, I've had discussions with people on social media trying to make it seem like Brian Flores was the worst Miami Dolphins head coach that we've ever had. And to me, that's just not true. I think what's happened in the years since have made things look even worse for Brian Flores. But as I keep on saying to people, what was your reaction that day he got fired? And there are some people, they've got receipts saying good riddance, don't like him because of X, Y, and Z, and they've stuck to that. Great, brilliant. But there are some people who didn't want to see him go, and now trying to make it seem like they always want him to go. And I'm just like, please don't do that, because to me that's not genuine.
The consensus was shocked. Like most of us was shocked that he was gone, Brian Flores. So here's my thing. I remember I was on the record saying Brian Flores was a great coach. I'm like, yo, this is a great coach. He should find another job. And then I scaled back a little bit. I said, you know what? He's a good coach. You know what I'm saying? Here's my thing about Brian Flores. Dude shot himself in the foot. Not literally, but he shot himself in the foot. He tried, and I don't have time to go through our podcast, like the post-game podcast of the Denver game or the Vegas game, Myles Gaskin's most memorable game as a Dolphin. I don't have time to go through the old episodes, Kadeem, but I remember in the moment saying Flores is sabotaging Tua's career. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, he is not letting this man either lose with the team or bring the team back. He's not giving them an opportunity to like come back and win the team over. And the reason why I say that is because it's more public information. And now what you've probably heard is Flores wanted Herbert. I think me and Kadeem heard different, and whatever it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But we will say Flores wanted a quarterback, Greer wanted a quarterback, and Ross wanted a quarterback. And allegedly, those were 3 different quarterbacks. Allegedly. It's one thing, Kadeem, to not get your way as a grown man, but it's another thing to try to sabotage your own job, bro. Like, yo, you didn't get your way. You didn't get your quarterback. You gonna try to win these games or nah? You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe Flores really tried to like Josh Rosen Tua. Like, all right, Tua wasn't my guy, wasn't my pick, but I'm gonna try to get him to demand a trade, or I'm gonna try to get him out of here, or you know what, we're gonna move on from Tua in some way, shape, or form. And it didn't work. It backfired. It super backfired. And I'm gonna give you the floor before I really go into what I really wanted to say. But I think it's more apparent that Flores is like, bro, this is a clown. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I'm not, he don't make scumbag. He don't make scumbag cum laude. You know what I'm saying? We got Watson. Watson was scumbag cum laude of what, 2022, and 2021, and then Xavier Howard graduated cum laude in like 2024. You know what I'm saying? But so, like, he's not a scumbag. Like, Coach is not a scumbag, but he is a clown for sure. He's definitely a clown.
So I was having a discussion with Ricky Watson, and it was a public discussion, so it's very easy to see. It's not like it was private. I'm airing our dirty laundry and stuff like that. The thing with Brian Flores is that he comes from a coaching tree which doesn't work outside of New England. That coaching method of I'm going to be a disciplinarian, it's my way or the highway, that only worked in New England because Belichick had rings to back it up, and I guess had a quarterback which just brought it all together. When you don't have that, and you've seen many different coaches who, coached under Belichick, try in different franchises, it doesn't work. And I think the interesting thing about, if you go back to the very beginning of when the Dolphins hired Brian Flores, and my conversation with Ricky Watson is that, Brian Flores had this amazing defense with like Minka Fitzpatrick and Xavier Howard, and it's like, well, let's just stop right there. Minka played one game, the Ravens destroyed the Dolphins, and then Minka was gone. So Brian Flores doesn't have Minka Fitzpatrick throughout that season. That's just not true. Devontae Parker has his best season in Miami, but the rest of that team was trash bags. And it's like Kenyon Drake was gone mid-season. Anyone who had, like, Larry Tunsil was traded before the season. Anyone who had any value that season was gone because the Dolphins were essentially tanking for Tua. And again, we sat here and just went, he picked up 5 wins. Well, like you said earlier, that, in my opinion, is a great coach. Pick up 5 wins with those players to bring it to when he gets Tua, he doesn't want Tua. Cool, fair enough. Sometimes the owner, the GM, whoever it is, they go above your head and say, listen, we're getting this guy. Fair enough, it is what it is. But the way he treated Tua, like you said, was also similar to the way he treated Josh Rosen, this back and forth in and out, and it made no sense. And it made even less sense with Tua because he's injured. He came into the league injured. Just sit the guy for the first year. That's all he had to do. And instead, like you said, he tried to either Josh Rosen it or Minka Fitzpatrick it where he wanted someone else. And what didn't help is that at the very least, there was someone above him who also wanted someone else because there was way too much trauma talk, way too much. And he kind of gets to this point where, like you said, Brian Flores shot himself in the foot. He treated Tua like he wasn't worth anything. And that's just not something you really should do to anyone. It's not tough coaching. It's just belittling someone for no reason. Like, who texts your starting quarterback the day before a game saying that you suck and don't blow it? How are you meant to inspire anyone with that kind of leadership? It makes zero sense. And like you said, it just got to a point now where with every passing season, it feels like more and more is coming out about just how bad that relationship is. And Charlie, you said multiple times, when that 30 for 30 comes out on Tua and the Dolphins win the Super Bowl, and we thought we found this information then, but it seems that's come years earlier than expected.
Hear me out, Kadeem. And we're gonna take a trip down memory lane real quick. And this is where I really wanted to get to. And for those who don't know, I work 12-hour shifts. 72-hour weeks. So that's 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. Hear me out. I was at work and I had time to really come up with this answer too. But I didn't want, I was trying to deflect so I didn't come up with the answer myself because I really wanted to wait for the podcast. So we're going to figure it out together. Kadeem, when was the last time the Miami Dolphins had a regular, normal offseason?
What do you mean by regular? What's the definition?
Like no scandal, no drama, just you know what? Season's over. Let's get to work in the offseason and we'll come back next season, fly under the radar. When was the last time that happened?
I feel like approaching a decade of being a Dolphins fan, even if the scandal is small, I feel like there's at least one thing every summer. If it's not coaches doing cocaine in the training facility, it's players being bullied. It's one player got someone else pregnant, got another woman pregnant. There's always something.
Check me out, Kadeem. What year did Adam Gase get fired?
2019.
So that was right. So the end of the 2018 season, is that right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, because
Brian Flores
comes in 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
And then Tua was drafted 2020.
The start of Go Time Dolphins, yeah.
Beginning of Go Time Dolphins. All right. So let's do the math real quick. So the end of 2018, we have a firing of a coach. right?
Yep.
So that offseason, we get a new coach. Like, all right, and I can't even remember before 2018. If I'm being real with you, I don't know when the cocaine Cowboys was out here. That could have been 2017. I don't know, but we'll start from the firing of Adam Gase, and at the end of 2018 season. So the 2019 season comes, and it's when we were supposed to have the historical worst team in the history of the NFL. This is like it's not hyperbole. Like that's what they said. They said it was supposed to happen. That's what was supposed to happen. Minka Fitzpatrick says, "I'm out of here. I'm not playing here. Y'all tripping. You know what I'm saying? I don't rock with this coach, which was Brian Flores. Y'all don't have no sense of direction. It is a crap show, for lack of better words, right?" That's 2019. That offseason apparently or allegedly is when the yacht party happened. Now I don't want to call it a yacht party, but that's where the Tom Brady conversation and the scandal, not the scandal, but the what was it? The tampering happened with Tom Brady and, hey, we want you to be the coach, the quarterback. And Stephen Ross told Brian Flores allegedly, yo, take a couple trips, put the season on the back burner. We're not really trying to win. Tua arrives in 2020. That season happens. And you, hey, I need some correction too. Let's like hold me accountable. I'm just coming off the top of my head, but I know if you're a real Dolphin fan, you probably remember some of this, and then you probably have more of it too. And cool. So let me know. So 2020, Tua arrives. We expect him to hopefully sit out the season. He doesn't. Comes in unbeknownst to everybody in the franchise, except for Brian Flores, including the offensive coordinator did not even know that Tua was coming in after the bye. Tua comes in, gets pulled several times throughout the season for Ryan Fitzpatrick, and we believe he is mishandled as a rookie quarterback. Like, yo, when was the last rookie quarterback you seen tossed around like this? Like, I can't remember, if I'm being honest with you, just in and out, in and out, in and out. Like, and I kind of feel like it was unwarranted. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it was deserving. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, he's a rookie. Let him learn. If not, then you shouldn't have put him in anyway.
Can I just interject very quickly as well?
Go ahead.
The offensive coordinator brought in is for Ryan Fitzpatrick. And Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua Tagovailoa are two completely different players. The weapons, and like this is what I guess the Tua dislikers will turn around and say, well, Fitzpatrick was succeeding with those weapons and Tua wasn't, and all that kind of stuff. But the offense stank. With both Fitzpatrick and Tua, Fitzpatrick was just much more likely to just say, hey, Devontae Parker, Jakeem Grant, go and get this.
YOLO.
And for all the, again, Vegas moments where his face mask getting pulled, is also just like, yo, what are we doing here? Like, and again, have to love Fitzpatrick, but generally there's a reason why he bounced around so many teams. Because that whole YOLO thing, after a while, it doesn't get too cute. So, yeah, 2020, you have Tua coming in and out, but it's an offense not designed for him.
Hold on. Real quick. Do you know what receiver that YOLO face mask pass went to?
Matt Collins.
Matt Hollins. Not Tyreek Hill.
Matt Collins.
Not Jalen Waddle?
No.
Dang. Not any of our other stud receivers?
Eric Edgerton still in college. Touche's 24. Washington still in college. Probably in high school, let alone college. Probably still in high school. Like, don't even know the about Miami Dolphins in the future. It's Isaiah Ford, Jakeem Grant, Devontae Parker, and guys who haven't been in the league since.
Let's get the train back on the tracks. So that's 2020, right? So that offseason, what took place that offseason? I want to say it was understood that we moved on from Ryan Fitzmagic, and it was like I don't know whose decision it was to move on from Ryan Fitzpatrick, but it was like, all right, we're handing the keys over to Tua. Was there any foolishness that offseason in the going into 2021? Was
So there's no scandals, but there is foolishness because that's when Brian Flores decides what's better than one offensive coordinator. Two. And those two offensive coordinators have never called a play in their life. So it's not a scandal, but it's foolishness because everyone's sitting there going, I don't think it's gonna work, Brian. Brian, this might be the play. But then, why do I feel like Fitzpatrick is still there in 2021?
No, he wasn't. So look, so we're getting somewhere though. So we're getting somewhere, and this is why I said normal and regular. So we're getting somewhere because I feel like it was not normal. And then we had the Watson moonlighting, where Stephen Ross allegedly had dinner or had conversations or was supposed to take Watson to dinner. And this is 2021 now. And the fan base is divided. And it is like, oh, we're getting Watson. And the other half is like, yo, we don't want Watson. We have a whole franchise quarterback here. You know what I'm saying? So how about this, Kadeem? For like real quick commercial break. How's that Watson thing going for you guys right now? All the people who wanted Deshaun Watson, because they're everywhere, and they were on some Dolphin podcasts too. A bunch of Dolphin. I'm glad there's a receipt account out there on Twitter, bro. Like, how y'all doing with the we need to have Watson? And I forget who said this. But it was something along the lines of, when we look back, and some podcasts said this, when we look back in history, the Dolphins are going to be remembered for choosing Tua and the next head coach over Flores and Watson. And that person was in his. I appreciate you saying that with your chest. You know what I'm saying? But when we pull up the receipts, don't go running from it. You feel me? So how about this? So 2021 Dolphins moonlight with Watson, and it's the biggest crap show out there. It's the biggest. Like, dang, bro, it's crazy. I've never seen a quarterback get handled like this in public ever. You know how big of a football fan I am, Kadeem. I've never seen this ever. That's 2021. At the end of that season, going into 2022, Flores is fired. Not only is he fired, it hits the fan. There's a scandal, the tampering, the owner told the coach to lose on purpose. The coach did this, said this, all this other good stuff. There was a fight in the locker room between the coach and players. I was about to say name names, but someone on Instagram says, "Hey, let's throw the ball 40 times in the rain." You feel me? Shout out to that dude. You my dog. You feel me? And that was going into 2022, and we get Coach McDaniel. Let me land the plane. Coach McDaniel comes in, has all of the conviction in the world to say, yo, I just want to prove to the world that Tua is a dude, right? And then the whole season is not really to put the team where we want to see the team. It's just, yo, I just wanted to prove to myself and prove to the world that Tua is a great quarterback. Tua shows up, MVP-like season is shortened because of concussions. So that offseason, Tua should retire. Tua should never play another game again. Is he gonna come back? He should worry about his health. I told you he's injury prone. That's that offseason, 2022 to 23. Dang, this is crazy. This is wildness. So here we go. This offseason, we might get a normal offseason.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
hold up. We might get a normal offseason. Like something where it's like along the lines of, okay, let's get back to football and proceed on the path that we wish to go on as a Dolphins team, franchise, organization, and fans. It has nothing to do with nothing else but football now, right? Wrong. Comes back, and it's how big is this Tua contract going to be, right? Yeah, that's football, but it was like the biggest thing out there. Like everybody else got paid, Tua shouldn't get paid what everybody else got paid. All this good stuff, whatever. He's very polarizing for whatever reason. Okay. And even that, we overcame it, bro. We even got past that. Once he got the contract, it wasn't, the internet didn't break. It didn't blow up. We are 2 weeks away from the regular season, Kadeem. And I know I'm going long, but I'm here. We are 2 weeks away from the regular season. And all of the national football media is talking about the Brian Flores and Tua relationship all over again. Bro, the Dolphins in every single offseason in the past, I don't know how many years, maybe 6 seasons, have been the talk of the offseason, and it's not for anything good ever, bro. Like, ever. Now, I want to be very clear, and I'm gonna give you the mic. I do not put this on Tua. Like, this is not like a, dang, why is he put a riff in the team? Like, I don't even think there's a riff in the team. Like, I am 100% okay with Tua deciding, you know what? I'm comfortable enough and paid enough, maybe, you know what I'm saying? And proven enough to say, you know what? Nah, bro. And he probably felt vindicated when he said what he said. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? Nah, this has to come to light. And this is what happened. And it wasn't like he said, yo, I'm writing a book and I'm writing a tell-all. Y'all need to know this. Nah, someone asked him a question and he answered the question. That is it. So I don't put this on Tua or like seeking for attention or a cry for help. Like some people put it out there like, nah, bro, I'm comfortable with him saying what he said. And in my honest opinion, I kind of like that Flores is kind of getting some of this pressure. For real.
So, hear me out. We've said in the past that Tua can sometimes say something, and we go, "You've worded that quite badly. That's not really ideal." But I was chatting to 5 Yard Lee about this, and I think Tua was so smart about what he said about Brian Flores, because there will always be plausible deniability. When Tua was asked about essentially going from Brian Flores to Mike McDaniel, listen back to what he says. It's like, what I think it's like, what would it be like working under a terrible person? And then he goes on to describe what it would be like. But at no point does he say Brian Flores was a terrible person. Now, people aren't stupid. They can put 2 and 2 together. But the point was more just the case of the point was more, Tua was never said Brian Flores is X, Y, and Z. He just said, imagine what it's like working under ABC. And I think that allows Tua to turn around and say, I never said it. Because what has happened and what will happen is people like Andrew Van Ginkel will come out and say, I love Brian Flores. Brian Flores gave me the chance in the NFL, and they're working together now. There's people who, you know, in the Miami Dolphins locker room, probably today, who genuinely believe wholeheartedly in Brian Flores. Because again, like we said, when he lost his job, that defense, and again, it's revisionist history. That defense, they give up quite a lot in certain situations, but it was very disciplined. The team was very disciplined, and I'm sure, again, if people were totally honest about themselves, some of the things that Brian Flores implemented while he was in the building, they would want back, because at times the Miami Dolphins under Mike McDaniel are very all disciplined. I think that's fair to say.
Hey, we're gonna get into bonus time because we're not sure what this audio is gonna sound like. We may be having some internet issues. Listen, fantasy football, hit us up, gotimedolphins@gmail.com, and in the subject, Let us know what league you want to play in, or well, in the subject, put fantasy football, and then in the text, let us know what league you want to play in, either the Veterans League or the Beginners League. But y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
So what I'm not gonna do is and I don't know the word I'm looking for, because I don't want to come off the wrong way, but I don't like how some people just dismiss what we're talking about and say something like, oh, I got to give credit to what Brian Flores said, and he's grown and da 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 da. Hold on. But are we going to address why we're talking about this? You see what I'm saying? So when Brian Flores said what he said, I'm like, yo, bro. I didn't, as a fan, as a human, as someone who I like to think I'm rational and logical and all this other good stuff. I would like to think that Brian Flores did not say anything where I felt like he changed or would change or would coach different or would go back and do something different. I didn't get that from what he said in that the most recent time he spoke in front of the media. I did not get that. Do you feel like what you got from Brian Flores in that last media availability 2 days ago, that Brian Flores will go back and do something differently? Did you get that?
No, not at all. And I felt like Brian Flores gave us typical coach speak, which was talk for quite a while, and you're nodding your head, going, yeah. And then when he leaves, you go, hold on, sorry, what did you just say? It's like when he was in Miami and Will Fuller. For the entire season, no one knew where Will Fuller was. But Brian Flores kept on speaking about Will Fuller. And at the time, you would think, okay, this makes sense. And then when he stopped talking, it's like, hold on, you didn't answer my question. You just said Will Fuller over and over again and spoke about timelines and all this kind of stuff. And I feel like he said a lot without apologizing. I feel like he isn't really sorry for what he did because he felt that that's what Tua needed to succeed. But also, because he just didn't want Tua around. He just didn't care how it would come across, and I feel like he thought he would outlast Tua in Miami. Same way he outlasted Josh Rosen, he outlasted Minka Fitzpatrick. But the dumb thing is, and maybe he knew this but didn't want to admit this because we all knew it. Brian Flores couldn't win without Tua. It was the dumbest thing in the whole entire. Like, dude, you could barely win a game without this guy as your quarterback, and yet for whatever reason, you didn't want him. And then people will say that the defense carried and all that kind of stuff. But Tua was under center for so many of those games, and the whole thing makes no sense.
Yeah, let's get up out of here.
We shall see you on the next one. Peace.